I love Halo. Ever since I went on a lore binge while I was homesick from high school, I have adored the Halo universe. From the art style to the gameplay and the story, every aspect is iconic. I played through all the games with my best friend Chase once they came to PC, and read most of the novels during quarantine. We even made ODST armor together, which I used to join the 405th Halo cosplay group after a member ran me down during a convention. Of all the games, ODST spoke to me the most. I could relate to being the quiet type, and the story of fighting through hell to find hope inspired me. Thanks to that passion, I started attempting to turn the campaign into a feature-length film with theater mode. Still, with the connections I was starting to make in the 405th, I was getting this itch to do Halo justice in live action. Luckily, after finishing the rest of my filmmaking requirements by the spring semester of my junior year of college, I had the perfect opportunity to make just that for my final capstone project. Cinematography class the previous semester was hell because of the new professor, Jay, who loved repeating himself and was very critical, and now I had to take him again. In addition to the teacher, while I'd done group projects for film before, I preferred to work alone. Going from working on my ODST machinima by myself to directing a big group in real life was gonna be an adjustment. The way the class was structured, everyone got to write, direct, and edit their own film, with students taking turns crewing on each other's films. We were only given 12 hours with the camera equipment, but the rest of the class didn't come anywhere close to using that much time. Really talented classmates who I looked up to made plans for easy films they could shoot in an afternoon, but I didn't want that. Since I was gonna do my last semester abroad in Scotland next fall, this was my last chance to filmmake in school, and my only shot to make some crazy ambitious Halo short. As much as I wanted to do it alone, now was my chance to make something way bigger. Using the advantages I had, including my dad's collection of military vehicles and my membership with the 405th Halo cosplayers, I knew I could do something really unique. College didn't allow fake weapons in any productions, but because my professors knew me as someone who always went above and beyond, they let me go ahead with it anyway, with a detailed safety plan, of course. I'd never written a script before, but the hardest part was the idea. No matter what idea I wanted to film, the primary mitigating factor was practicality. When I couldn't think of anything, I got drunk the night before the pitch deadline and watched the Deliver Hope trailer again to break my writer's block. My main inspirations were the old trailers, ODST of course, and one of my favorite YouTube videos ever, Halo 3 Made Me Believe by Leadhead. I really deeply related to that video in the way that it perceived Halo's message of hope. And more than anything, I didn't want to crush that with some deeply nihilistic take on the universe that certain fan films had started leaning towards.
You're alive?
Okay, who wants to be Sam?
Wait, Miles can be Spam. He's died, which means he can revived as Sam.
He's yes, different helmet.
Yeah.
Oh, he does have a helmet with a skull on it. Wow, he put that on fast. Damn.
Shit, I can't read.
My professor gave my first draft a list of corrections longer than the script itself, and the script went through 7 iterations before being approved. I decided to have the UNSC fighting insurrectionists as I don't know CGI and couldn't make any non-human enemy work. He was super anal about the shot list too, needing 4 meetings back and forth to approve it. He'd explain something for 20 minutes only for me to repeat it in a sentence, and he'd agree with it. But regardless of that frustration, as Eisenhower once said, plans are useless, planning is everything. So I was going to plan as much as I could. In the meantime, I had my toughest course load yet, and thanks to procrastinating for a law class I was for some reason required to take, I single-handedly made UCCS change their disability policy. Sorry about that. My capstone class had the same students as cinematography did the previous semester, so I started to get to know my classmates better. As the semester progressed and I helped with more and more of my classmates' films, there was a burgeoning sense of camaraderie as we were all going to get through this tough semester and harsh professor together. My film was going to require a lot of people to make it happen, so I started assembling my team as soon as possible. I started making friends in the 405th and pitched the idea to them.
It's even better.
Some volunteered to come out, even from as far as Utah, to be in it, while others donated props and armor like this Marine outfit.
Looks good.
I spent Valentine's Day shopping for insurrectionist outfits before realizing my dad hoards military gear in addition to military vehicles. I spray painted Nerf blasters in addition to 3D printed replicas and did what I could to substitute props. Our class had to put out proper casting calls, and I found a real actress named Mina to be my Marine and my only non-cosplayer actor. Action!
Princess? She's here?
I met Clay a year prior in directing class, and got him on board as my DP as he was the best camera op I knew. A bunch of my friends volunteered to be extras, including a friend I'd met in Minecraft who flew all the way out from Alabama to finally meet the group. Even my connections from my old armor group helped with some of the effects. I had a crew of my classmates, friends as extras, my family for logistics, and 4 actors, 3 of whom were bringing their own costumes. We'd used the ranch my dad was renting for his military vehicles because of how open and sparse the space was. In the spirit of preparation, I went out to the ranch with my AD and my DP a week before filming to match the shot list to actual locations and make the filming go as smoothly as possible.
I'm gonna try to move that Chevy Tahoe because this is not the Halo series, and I'm not gonna have a Chevy Tahoe in it if I can avoid it.
For someone who usually procrastinates, I'd prepared and planned pretty well, but no plan survives contact with reality.
I am unbelievably stressed out right now. One of my actors bowed out because all of his ODST armor that he's worked really hard on just like snapped and broke into a million pieces, and now I've got to come up with a new actor. I think one of my best friends is gonna step in for that. I've got to organize a bunch of stuff, get everything ready. It's the day before the shoot. Everything's falling apart. Stressed out of my mind, but I work really well under stress. So we'll just have to make it work.
In between that and still entertaining my friends, it was crazy stressful, but Chase stepped up and volunteered to be my ODST and wear a cobbled together suit with pieces of both his and my armor.
That's a lot of shit.
The day had finally come. I arrived at the ranch bright and early to prepare before people started trickling in for our 7 a.m. call time.
I eat McDonald's for
Time was of the essence as I'd planned to wrap shooting at sunset 12 hours later. And even though no classmate got close to using all 12 hours, I knew it was going to be tight with so many moving parts.
You excited?
Yeah.
We started by taking a lot of time to film the first scenes so the vehicles could be prepared. And by the time we were done, they still weren't ready, so I had to change the shoot order around a little bit.
Right at the side of our shot, there is a Chevy Tahoe, and as ironic as it would be to copy the Halo show and just have it in there anyway, we ended up stacking up these barrels so you can't see it in camera, because we are in fact better than a multi-million-dollar studio. So
you for the UNSC.
He's standing on a rock, impeccable form.
cut. Okay, one more take.
Do you mind if we close the gap a bit?
Okay, yeah. Action. Cut. Shooting's gone really well so far. We're through 2 scenes. We're gonna moving down to the valley. Those scenes took forever because we were
Hello.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm almost finished. Sorry. Spartan cart.
Look at what they need to mimic a fraction of our power.
We kept shooting outside while we waited for the vehicles and extras to be ready, but ran out of time. Mina had to return to Denver for a different film shoot and only had half an hour left with us when we hadn't even started her last scene. Everyone was looking at me to figure it out, and I realized how out of my depth I was. For the first time, I saw this might not work. That moment when it nearly came crashing down and everyone expected me to lead was the most anxious I've been in my entire life. I so badly didn't want to fail, and I knew if I could just get through this hell, I'd be able to make it and have something that I'd finally be proud of. If the vehicles weren't ready for extras, I'd just park them where they'd stopped, film all of Mina's scenes, and cheat by never having the vehicles and her visible in the same shot during the fight.
Cut.
Yeah, that's the last of him.
My crew worked incredibly fast, and Mina gave us an extra half hour before leaving, so it just barely worked.
It's not bumpy.
Now that the extras and drivers were ready, around 20 people gathered around me waiting to hear their instructions. Once it became real, I realized I hadn't fully planned that part, but now I was confident. Finally, I started directing, loading up the vehicles for the only take we'd be able to get of the big battle, since the vehicles would take too long to reset. And after that shot was done, things became way more relaxed, and I had fun getting the close-ups of Gus fighting insurrectionists.
It's fine. Just put it back. That's fine.
Since Jay was so invested in this production, he showed up to set to take BTS, and I thought about how grateful I was for his thoroughness after all. I learned more in his classes than in the rest of my degree combined, and I wouldn't have been able to do any of it without him. Once most of the stress was gone, I could really appreciate how cool it was to be working with real-life Spartans. My actors really brought this world to life and made it so much more fun to film.
Flip them off.
Even the Kubelwagen breaking down off screen couldn't stop us from wrapping the film just in time, with a lovely sunset for saying goodbye to my amazing crew.
Thanks for watching.
That was incredible. I don't know how I'd ever work in this industry if it's all like that for like 3 months, because that 12-hour shoot destroyed me. Having all of that responsibility, honestly, the night before especially, I was absolutely just terrified. But the shoot, for most of it, when things were under control, I was like, I felt great. And it was like really fun and relaxing, honestly. Great. I mean, I had amazing, amazing people on my crew, with craft, my talent, my extras. Everyone I had was amazing, amazing people that absolutely carried me through. If I had one less person, I could not have done this from any department.
I procrastinated editing till the last 2 weeks, but I still managed to pass my hardest semester, this time with no missing or late assignments.
Now make a wiggle, now make a twist.
Yeah, when does Logan get here?
I went to the same UCCS film festival. I brought the intro of my ODST Machinima 2 last year, but this time I'd brought something better. My friends that had helped me make something I was proud of. Granted, I don't think my film was that good. It was my first script after all, but the experience was invaluable. After the show, I thanked Jay for making me a good filmmaker, and he said I was a great filmmaker and thanked me for sticking through his class.
Fucking God. I feel great. Oh, you're talking about.
I was so proud at the time of how far I'd come in just 1 year at the same event, but looking back, you can still see an unplaceable sadness in my eyes.
What can I say? It was a hell of a night.
Like in ODST, I may have started alone, but after finding my team and braving hell together, I wasn't by myself anymore. I kept in touch with that team, old and new friends alike, cosplayers and filmmakers, and continued working with them. Friendships made by crawling through hell together stick, and as with the end of ODST, the war might not have been over, but I had discovered hope. I was good at filmmaking, and I really enjoyed it. For the first time in my life, I had a real direction to follow. There was still so much more I could learn about film, but even more I needed to learn about myself. If you want to see the rest of my journey, stay tuned.